Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of The Lindsey Anderson Show. Now, I have a very special guest today, and we're talking about scaling your business. And while my guest, Mr. Mike Agugliaro, is a utmost expert at helping you scale businesses, he's worked with over 20,000 people. He's a former electrician turned powerhouse entrepreneur, coach, and author. He really knows what he is doing. We end up talking about yes, you need business systems and you need sales and you need the marketing and you need all of these things in order to scale your business. But where our conversation really lights up is around this relationship with money. If your relationship with money is not in order, then it's going to be really hard to scale your business. Mike shares so much wisdom and inspiration during this episode, and it's true. At my build and monetize agency, we see this all the time. People who have the systems and the strategies, but they still struggle to get to that next level. And that is because of this missing mindset piece. If you aren't at peace with money, if you have negative reactions to money, it will show up everywhere in your business, in the micro decisions you're making every day, in the way you're handling your team and investments in your programs and your customers. It really does evolve around your relationship with money. If that is not where it needs to be, it can be very difficult to scale because of those subconscious micro decisions that you make every day. And during this interview, Mike gives us some real clear step-by-step strategies on how to start healing that and getting that to a place where the systems and the strategies and the operations can actually help you scale. So excited to introduce you to my guest, Mr. Mike Agugliaro, a former electrician turned powerhouse entrepreneur, coach, and author. You do not want to miss this interview. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Are you ready for next level growth in your business? Welcome to the Lindsey Anderson Show, where we pull back the curtain on the exact strategies, tools, and mindsets that build million-dollar empires. If you're hungry for more time, more freedom, and a whole lot more impact, you've come to the right place. Buckle up, because we're about to ignite your business journey. Now, here's Lindsey.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this very special episode of The Lindsey Anderson Show. Today, I'm joined by Mike Agugliaro, a former electrician turned powerhouse entrepreneur, coach, and author. Mike scaled his home services business to $32 million a year and sold it to private equity, and then built the largest training organization for service companies, helping over 20,000 people. Now, through Food Dog Group, he's teaching others how to elevate every area of their lives. Mike, thanks for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to help business owners scale.
Yeah, super excited to be here. Thanks for having me on your show. If I take it way back, and we won't stay there too long, being on my own since I'm 15 years old, you have to figure out how to survive really quick. My dad was a little bit of an entrepreneur. He was a union mason, but he also had his own little business of doing side work and stuff. And growing up as a kid, carrying bricks and blocks, I did not want to become a mason. So I became an electrician because there's kind of a conveyor belt there. It's like, you're built for college, and no, Mike, you're probably going to be an electrician or a plumber or something. And it worked out very well for me. As soon as I was out of school, which I went to a vocational school, I thought that all my bosses were pretty much idiots. So I figured I didn't like them. I should be able to do this better. So I started my own company and found out I was an idiot just like them. You think you know everything until you're in it. And I did it wrong for at least a decade. So anybody listening to this, I struggled. I didn't know how to hire. I had every excuse. I tried to do everything myself. And then, long story short, I then figured out marketing, sales, operations, and systems. And based on mastering those things, I took a business from under $1 million a year to over 32 million a year, from me working as an electrician in a truck to over 165 vehicles in New Jersey, and from me being an employee with a partner to 200 employees. But it was after we really hit about 20 million. Lindsey, every time I was around somebody, a friend of mine, I'm like all excited. I'm like, oh, we're making tons of money and profit. How are you? And they're like, horrible. And over
Yeah.
time, I just got tired of hearing that. And I've always been a servant. I've been a martial artist for over 39 years now. So I was always helping people train martial arts. And I believe it or not, a side note, I'm a tattoo artist. I don't do it a lot anymore. So if anybody's looking at, I hope everybody's tattooed today. But if not, you have time. And I told my wife, I just can't. It's hurting me to watch so many people struggle. And that's what made us say, let's start helping people figure this out. And also, in a way, Lindsey, I'm sure you know, it's not a one size fits all. It's not a McDonald's model. I know the E-Myth and these people want to try to tell you like it's like shaking fries 3 times and flipping a burger, but an electrical business or any type of business is very different than cooking French fries and hamburgers.
That's right. That's right. So, Mike, what are some signs that a business owner is struggling with scaling, that they need these 4 things that you mentioned?
Let me share what I figured out, what holds people back the most. And years ago, I used to think that maybe it's marketing or sales or operations or numbers, and I think those play a part. But now, being over 3 decades of studying human behavior, I found out the number one that keeps people from scaling is them. Now, wait, I'm not going to give everybody some foo-foo, big, broad thing. Oh, think better, grind more. I'm not going to give you that. I want to give you a theory. When I was a kid, Lindsey, I found a nickel or a quarter and I ran up to my mom and I was like, Mom, look, I found money. And she said, oh, that's really good, Michael. Now go wash your hands because money is dirty. And I bet a lot of people, even let's pretend Lindsey and I are looking at you, raise your hand if you've been told money's dirty or money doesn't grow on trees. Now you think today, no, that's not a problem. And maybe you would lick $100 bills. I don't know. But it's programmed inside of you. And unless you redefined that program, then people are living in a form of scarcity instead of a form of abundance. And so I do believe when they say, and I don't know if it's 75% or 80% psychology, but it is a huge percentage that if you don't have that figured out first, how you function, and I would say your relationship with money as a vibration and understanding, all the marketing, sales, and operations is never going to help you. Now, if you
Interesting.
get that in place, because when I look and say, how does someone like me scale 2 companies, well, very high 8-figure companies? I sold both of them in the last 6 years. One of them took me 10 years to grow. One of them I did in less than 5 years. And now I have a portfolio of companies that we run. How does someone like me on his own at 15, no college degree? Now I've invested in a lot of training, a lot, probably $4 million plus in training. And those of you that think that's bullcrap, I could prove it. But when you look at what I've invested in training compared to the outcome, it's a very small amount. So if we could get everybody just to say, okay, what are my old beliefs holding me back? We get that handled. Now I could teach you marketing. I could teach you the art of, I don't like, it is sales, but even though sales has such a bad rap, let's just call it serving instead of sales. The art of serving at such a level, people say, what can I buy from you? And then how to scale a business. It becomes a lot easier and a lot more fun.
I love that. I want to go back to get your relationship with money in place. I want to dive into that a little bit more. It seems like it's going to be the first step. If you're not scaling and you're struggling, we got to look at this first. It sounds like that's what you're saying. So, what's step 1 of getting your relationship with money in place, Mike?
Step 1, I would put everything on the table. I would put your checkbook there. I would put some cash. I would put some coins. I would put a credit card. I would put a bank statement. And I would just one by one pick it up and say, how does this feel to me and why? See, when I pick up a credit card, well, first off, American Express loves me, even though they stick me in that automated machine. And then they get on there like, thank you for 37 years of experience. You would think after 37 years of loyalty, you would pick up the phone and say, hey, Mike. But one person despises credit cards. I have a balance and I have debt. Me, I've loved it for 37 years. I've never carried a balance. They given me free money, points. I've flown all over the place. I pay my Amazon bills with points. So for me, a credit card is free cash. To someone else, it's pain and suffering. If you can just do this simple exercise and pick it up, and then if you're in a relationship, I'm with my beautiful wife, Jennifer, since I'm 15, it's 39 years we're together. If we pick that up and then say, hey, what does my checkbook mean to me? What does it mean to you? You're going to identify real quick that you have what I would call either shames, guilt, or traumas built into that. And a lot of times it is some form of trauma there, right? Like I ended myself.
Definitely.
I mean, this happened a lot through 2008 and through the years. And then what happened is during the pandemic, people pulled back on money. And then all of a sudden they felt invincible and they just started buying, right? The other thing about this money is we're being controlled by dopamine hits, right? Everywhere you go, if you're on Facebook or YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, you're watching one thing of value and being programmed of one thing to buy. I was just watching it the other day. They're like, hey, take this pill. It will kill every bug inside your body. And now I'm thinking, man, I don't know. Do I have bugs in my body? Maybe I should buy this thing. And every day that's controlling you. So not only do you need to know the relationship of money, you need to know your relationship with things that are trying to take your money. So let's pause there a minute.
I love that, Mike. So, yeah, I mean, I'm obsessed. I want to know what the second step is. So, I lay out all of these financial tools. I pick them up. I come back to myself. I'm trying to identify that feeling, what this is making me feel. What's step two? Do I just need to feel through that feeling and that's going to help the healing?
Well,
Or
I have a
rhymed, but what do you
theory
think?
of what helps healing. And if everybody would just consider this theory for a minute, you could really neutralize a lot of things in your life. And most people, when they pick up the credit card and they have that ill feeling, they're only seeing the one side, which is the downside. They had a fantasy, but they could only see, instead of seeing heaven, they could only see hell, right? So the freeing yourself from it is to realize the upside that came from that credit card. Okay, yeah, you had debt, but without that card, you couldn't get new tires, which now that you got new tires, it allowed you to go to a wedding, or it allowed you to go to a vacation, or it allowed you to drive back and forth to work. And then you go, oh, okay. So this was not all bad. This credit card has a ton of good in it. And then you go to your checkbook. So the point is to take every one of these, feel what you feel, and then get to the point where you could see equal upsides as downside, to the point you go, this checkbook is nothing more than a tool. This credit card is nothing more than a tool. And I promise all of you can do it. And I'm not saying this to brag. My wife and I have been debt-free since we're 28 years old. And now I'm level 54 now. I don't believe in saying age. I don't know why anybody likes, when they say age, it's like they crumble over. And when you say level, you feel like,
Yeah.
right? And people say, I don't understand. How did you stay debt-free? I don't have a mortgage. I still don't have mortgages today. And I say, it's not because I made a fortune. It's because, one, I had this understanding with money. And two, I wasn't dopamine driven for tiny moments of feeling ecstasy of something. I looked at it and said, is this something that's going to give me a tiny hit of energy, or will it be a long-term thing? A lot of times you go, okay, yeah, do I really need that TV now? What am I hoping to get from it? So you start to, and I'm also not saying go to a restaurant and say, how much is the cheese on the fries, and don't get cheese, right? I'm saying there's a balance, there's a harmony you need to get into this rhythm. And Lindsey, if you don't tackle this, I promise, scaling anything, building a business, it's going to be very hard.
Why, Mike? Why, if I knew all the systems and the strategies and the business and the sales, if I still have a not great relationship with money, why does it work this way?
Okay, if anybody listening has ever heard of a theory, it's been around a long time, that's called a gap analysis. And I'm going to make it so simple for everybody. A gap analysis is this. If we draw one circle here, this is where you are. And let's get really clear. If we were to be as transparent as we can be with where we are, we either have money, we don't. We're happy or we don't. In my world, I always say I'm a force multiplier for people who want life, business, and wealth by design. But the only way we could get there is if you're truthful. If you have a place where you're at, well, Lindsey, there's probably a place you want to go. Now, I just did this the other day on a training I'm on. I said, who wants more money? And everybody listen, if you want more money, just raise your hand. And everybody does. I say, here's $1. Now, sign off the training. You're done. You see, you're not being clear. You want more money, but you're not saying how much. So we got to know where we're at. We got to know where we want to go. And yeah, it's simple. You need an arch.
No problem. It was getting intense there.
It's intense. The camera pulls in my emotions. And so there's an arch and you need to do things to get there. But when I was looking at this, now training over 20,000 people and well over 1,000 business owners, creating more decamillionaires in the last 4 years than anybody else I know that have sold, exited their companies, I kept saying, why is everybody not getting there? Just know where you're at, where you want to go, do new stuff. But there's something nobody ever taught me on this gap analysis. Where you want to go, there's a line going the opposite way. And that line is called the resistance line. So what's the resistance? It's everything we've been talking about. Oh, well, my parents were middle class and I was bullied as a kid and I'm dyslexic and I have ADHD and I have all these things that we tell ourselves that are resistances until you say to yourself, wait a second, a resistance is just an unutilized opportunity. I just don't understand how to leverage it in a different way. Someone the other day, they said, Lindsey, is funny. They said, hey, love your post. Whole lot of spelling mistakes in there. And I said, well, it's a good thing it doesn't take spelling to become wealthy because I wouldn't be wealthy. I'm a horrible speller. I never could figure out there, your. I didn't like my English teacher. She didn't like me. That's just a resistance that others see, but it doesn't keep you from being ultra successful. The last thing I'll share, I hand it back to you, is a lot of times people are consuming information and they might be consuming the right stuff at the wrong time. I ask people, what book are you reading? They say, I'm reading Blue Ocean Strategy or Who Moved My Cheese. And these are all great books. And I say, why are you reading that book now? And they always say the same thing. Well, oh, I saw it online and a friend of mine referred it. I said, but is that your biggest problem? Oh, no. Then why are you reading something? And I hope this is a big aha for some people. Why are you reading something that does not solve your most immediate issue you're dealing with? If you're dealing with a business culture, well, you should read 5 books on culture until you solve it. And if you solve your culture problem in book 1, give the other 4 books away. You're done for now. If you solve your culture on page 5, close the book and stop reading. You're not in 5th grade and you're going to fail if you don't read the whole book of Tom Sawyer. But some of you that are listening have been trained, if I crack open the bind, I must get from start to finish or I'm a failure. And in the end, you go, good, but it made no difference in your life. Is this resonating, Lindsey, here?
I love it, Mike. Mike, it's such a good point about the books. I love it. I haven't heard it worded that way, but it's so true. And they tend to skip ahead and it bothers them because they're getting worked up about problems they don't have right now, but future problems. And yeah, just address the problem that you have. I love it. Now, Mike, for my final question, you've done so much. You've helped so many people. You're on level 54. What is one thing that you wish you would have known before you got started?
Oh, really great question. All right, I'm going to share what I knew, which is something I'm talking about right now today, except it would have helped me then, but everybody must know it now, is that knowledge is going to be useless. It's going to be useless. Now, let me make my point here. We're in a world today where AI and technology is moving so fast, you can get an answer by blinking your eyes in a set of glasses and it will tell you, which means all people with knowledge, it doesn't mean anything. The superpower is wisdom. And I wish somebody told me years ago how important wisdom will be. See, knowledge is information and wisdom is experience. And any of you that have a business, if you're not using your wisdom as your brand authority and making sure that's out there, I would be slightly concerned, everybody listening, because I always use the example, Lindsay. Dr. Phil, which most people know, he is not the best doctor at all. Matter of fact, I watched some of his stuff. He's annoying as heck. But he makes a lot more money than I bet your doctor and everybody else's doctor. Why? Because he has a sense of wisdom along with brand authority. And I wish somebody had told me that years ago. The other thing is, I'm pretty sure, to give you a number two, a bonus here, I'm pretty sure people told me this. If you could take what you were told as a kid, because when you were a kid, you were told you could be the president, you could be Wonder Woman or Superman. By the time you're 15, your parents are telling you, nah, you ain't never going to be the president, right? And all of a sudden, what you thought was possible and what is possible goes away. I would go back and say to all of you, every single thing you want to be possible is possible with a different sense of thinking, different strategies, and different tactics. All the stories are out there. Right? The founder of McDonald's, what was he, 50 something? Every story is out there. There's an 8-year-old kid that's a multimillionaire, and then there's a 90-year-old person who just started a business and became a millionaire, which means if you fall anywhere in that realm, it means you can do the same thing. Just get around. I'll give you one more bonus here.
I love
The
it.
person, Lindsay, who said a journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step, I think he was an idiot too. And I don't look at it. It's a probably 5,000-year-old strategy. I think a journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first right step. Because if you take the wrong step, you're going to fall right off a cliff. And the second one I would tell you guys is challenge. Don't just agree to everything you're hearing. Not from me, not from Lindsay. Ponder it. Because a lot of people are telling you, like, wait a minute, unless you get up at 4:30 in the morning and you cold plunge and sniff butterfly butts, you're never going to be successful. I'm like, if I get up at 4:30 in the morning, I'm going to be vomiting because I must be sick because I don't do that. Start to pave your path and don't believe everything. You don't need a miracle morning to win. You could just know that every minute's a miracle. And if you're worried about only doing the 4-hour work week and you only want to do something for 4 hours, you should kill it because it means you dislike it. Don't do it at all. So question a little bit of what you're thinking, find your path, and I'm rooting for everybody, Lindsay.
I love it, Mike. Thank you so much for dropping so much wisdom, so many bonuses on the end too, and they were all worth the listen. Before I let you go, I'm going to turn the time over to you. How do we find you, and what else do you want us to know?
You could go to Food Dog Group, that's FUDOG, a second GROUP.com, and find us. If you heard this, find me on Facebook, private message me. It's going to be me responding. I don't have some robot talking to you. I respect you way too much for that. And we do have a really great, if anybody does reach out, or Lindsay, I could get you the link. I wrote an amazing book called Mind Power. I'm super proud of it. I'll give a free digital copy if somebody wants it. I mailed this book. I'm so proud of this. We mailed this to a woman that was homeless. She said, mail it and this person give it to me. She's no longer homeless. She's in a house. She's teaching other people about hope and success. I'm really, really proud of this book. I've written 28, but this one's got me really proud. If anybody wants that, just don't make this a drive-by. Say hello to me.
I love it. Thanks, Mike, for your time. Appreciate you being on the show. Are you ready to up-level your social media game and finally get the results that you've been looking for? Let's create a strategy together that works for those qualified business owners. My calendar is now open for you to book your free social media strategy session with me today. Get signed up for that session, and you and I will transform your online presence into a client-generating machine. Spots are limited for qualified individuals, so don't wait. Secure the session now simply by going to lindsaya.com/book-now. Let's make your social media unstoppable. All you have to do is go there and apply for a one-on-one complimentary session with me. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Lindsey Anderson Show. Cheers to you and your success.
That's a wrap for today's episode of The Lindsey Anderson Show. If you loved this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share how you're leveling up your business. Want more? Connect with Lindsey Anderson and get the tools you need to crush your goals at lindsaya.com. Until next time, keep pushing, keep growing, and turn those business dreams into reality.